Hi everyone, I welcome you to this activity. In this activity, we will produce a global elevation map like this. The elevation map you see here is a grayscale image that has been manipulated with red pixels indicating high elevation areas and blue pixels indicating low elevation areas. The green pixels are the mid-ranges. This activity aims to visualize grayscale imagery, enhance the visualization by assigning colors to a range of pixel values. In fact, the main task here is to modify this. So what you see here is a grayscale image. You see light colors and dark colors. So this is a grayscale image, and what we're going to actually do is to turn this into a product like this, where we assign colors to the black and white we saw earlier. We will discuss the product in the context of Australia. So let's get started. Fire up your code editor, and once your code editor is up right in front of you, the first thing we're going to do is that under script, we are going to create a new file. Okay, so new file, and then here we're just going to call it activity, and then we just go single band. So this is the name of the file. So you can modify it, to a name that you feel more comfortable with. But this is what I'm going to keep for now. And then just click OK. Once you click OK, you see that it pops up here. But you need to click it, and then a new code editor pops up, a blank page, for you to type in stuff. And this is what we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is that we're going to look for the data to work with, and we are going to explore Google Earth Engine database. So if you know the name of the data, you're just going to type it into it. But if you don't know, you put in a generic name. So with this work, we're going to do elevation. So we want any data related to elevation. So you just type in elevation, and then once you type in elevation, you go a bunch of data pop up under rasters, and even when you click more, you see more data that is available for elevation. So in this case, we're going to use this NASA SRTM. So we're going to select that. Alternatively, if you know the name, the exact name, like you've already worked with the data before, and is NASA SRTM, instead of you typing elevation, you just go and type the name in there, and then you see that also pops up. And like I said earlier, we're going to use this one. So just click this one, and then it brings you to description, tab, bands, and so on and so forth. But what we want to start with is to look at the data set availability. You can see this data has been available since 2000, and the data provider is NASA and USGS. And so when you go to the description, it tells you a bit more about the data, especially how it was obtained. And then when you go to bands, it gives you the various bands associated with the data. So in this case, it's only one band, and the name of the band is elevation, and the values ranges between -10 and 6500 meters. You can see the unit is meters, and the pixel size is 30 meter by 30 meter. So here you see the resolution to be 30 meters. You may explore the other terms of use, just to be sure that you are using this data appropriately. And then if you use this data for any study or publication, you have to cite it, and the reference to it is this one here. All right. So if you go through and you're happy, what you can do is that you can click import. So if you click import, what you are essentially doing is that you are importing the whole data, which is a global data, into your code editor, and see this is coming into your code editor. So you are calling this big data set to use, and so this is one way of bringing the data set into your code editor. The other option is what I prefer we use, and so we're going to explore that. And how do you do that? So again, you see, if you go to the data set and under import, we also have collection snippet. So what we're going to do is that we're going to just copy that. So that is copied, and then I'm going to close this window, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to paste what I collected. So here we are using the ee.image function. So if you go to docs, what you see is that you see ee.something like ee.algorithms, and then you have got your ee.image here. So these are the tools we're going to use, and when you see ee.something, it means that we are leveraging Google server for this project we are doing. And if you are using Google Earth Engine for remote sensing, it is highly recommended that you use Google server, which means that we use the ee.something, which means you use the built-in functions and methods that comes with the software, and that is what we're going to do. But it's not always the case that you see ee.something. So this one here, this function here, chart and export and map, you see they don't have which means that you are not using Google Earth Engine service. In this case, you are going to do things on the client side of things. Okay, so that is what the explanation behind using that. But as much as possible, we'll be using the built-in functions and methods in all the activities we'll be doing. Okay, so now you have got your ee.image, and then you've brought in. So what we need to do is that we're going to assign this to a variable. So let's say to do that, you have to declare it with what var, as to show that this is a variable, right? So once you declare a variable with a var, the next thing to do is what? The name of the variable, and then you assign. The assign is this one here, right? So if you don't know about how to assign a variable in Google Earth Engine, please watch the previous video because we have covered it in earlier sections. Okay, so we've got the name of a variable to be srtm_elevation, and then we have assigned this snippet to it. And so what we're going to do is that just bring in your semicolon, and then you'll be keen to say what does this data look like. So we may want to click run, right? But if you click run, you can see that nothing pops up in the console. The console is still empty. So what it means that we have to use the print command. We need to issue the print command, and so we're going to print, and then once you type in print, to bring the name of the variable. So just copy this. I'm going to copy the name of the variable, and then I'll stick it in the round bracket. And then now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run this, and then just see what pops up. So now we've got something in the console, and then when you hit on the expander, you can see the type of data. The type of data is image, and this is the image ID. You can see the image ID here, which is here, and then it is also shown in the console. And so that's the image ID, and the version is available. What you can also do here is to click on this expander and then see the list of bands available. You can see list, right? So the list, the data type there is a list. So it's a list of what bands, but we only have one band, and that band is called elevation. All right, so I'm just going to copy this name. Very important. I'm just copy it. I'll use it later. I'll use it later. Okay, so once you have that, the next thing we want to do is that, well, we can go to properties, and properties will offer additional details to let you understand the data you are working with. So once you have gone through all of these things and you understand your data, and we know the bands available, we're going to visualize this data. So that is what we're going to do next. Okay, well, to visualize, we have to find the best tool to use. So when you go to docs, under docs, I'm going to show you the tool for visualizing data in Google Earth Engine. So you go to map, because visualization simply means that you want to display something on the base map here. Okay, so you have to go to map. We want to create a map. So what we want to do is that we go to maps and then hit on the expander, and then you see a number of methods there, right? The one we are going to use today is map.addLayer. This is the one we're going to just click on that, and it is the workhorse for visualizing data in Google Earth Engine. So we're going to use this method a lot. In fact, almost every day we're going to use this method. So I'm going to go through the argument. So it doesn't require, like it has how many arguments? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's not true that you have to use all the arguments at the same time. Sometimes some of the arguments you don't need it, but you need to understand it. So if you go to EE object, what does it require? It requires what? A collection, a feature, an image, or raw map ID. So in our case, we have got an image. You can see it here, right? What we got here is an image. So that is what we're going to use. Well, because I now have this in the script, I'm going to delete this one. The import, I'm going to delete this. Why? Because this thing here is the same as what I've got here. All right, so because of that, I'm going to delete this one here. So yeah, delete, and then we've got an image, so you can see that our product is an image. And so when you go back to the map.addLayer here, so we have an image there. So we're going to in the place of EE object, we're going to put in the image there. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy the whole method. Just going to copy the method, and then I'm going to say visualization. So for visualization, we need to use this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now here is that I'll replace this with my variable here, because that is what the explanation says. So I've got an image here, it can sit here, right? The next thing is the vis params. So what is the vis params? I don't know what it is, so I'm going back to this, and then I'm going to read about it. Oh, okay, the vis params is actually the visualization parameters. Okay, and so this is sort of, if you read further, it means that it's sort of assigning colors to things. So that is what we're going to do next. So I'm going to keep the vis params, and then what about the name? What is name? So name, let me go back to it, and what does it say about name? So when you go to name, it's that is the name of the layer. Well, if you don't specify the name of the layer to the one you want, the computer is going to give you a default name, which is layer and like any number. So what it means that it's always a good thing to specify the layer. Don't leave it to the computer to do it for you. So I'm going to keep a name. Also another argument that we're going to specify. The other one is shown. So shown is optional, and it is what is to indicate whether I want to let people see the image or not. So and the default is true, so I'm going to leave that one out. Opacity is also what a number, and that is optional, and if you how transparent you want the image to look like. So I'm going to remove these two, opacity and shown, for now, and then I'm going to define the vis params. So the vis params, to define something in you have to use curly bracket. So I'm going to say I need to define this. So vis params, I'm going to define it by using curly bracket. So I'm going to grab a curly bracket. This is a curly bracket. We want to define the colors we want to assign to the data. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. Well, not only colors you want to define, but you may want to define the range of pixel values. So that is and also the band. So in this case, we're going to define the bands, and the bands will be this, and then what you need is a list, right? So that is going to be a list. So I'm going to copy this. And how do you define a list? We've covered it in the previous video, so be sure you watch it. We define a list by using square bracket, and then what is the name of the band? It is elevation. I copied it earlier, so I'm going to stick it here. So the list of bands, and we got only one band, and in this case that is elevation. So once that is done, the next thing is that we want to define the minimum value. So we are going to specify the minimum value, and that is the key is min, and then the value is what? We don't know the value. Okay, let's go again back to the data, and then let's go to bands. Oh, the minimum value is -10 and the maximum value is 6500. So we're going to specify that. So that here is going to be -10, and the max is going to be 6500. Okay, so that is the detail we got from the data itself. And then the name, what name do you want to give this thing? So if you want to give it a particular name, normally giving names to stuff you have to use string. Again, we've covered it in the previous video, so please watch it, how to create strings in Google Earth Engine. That is covered. So here we are going to create a name, and we are going to use strings to do that. Okay, so in the name, I'm going to choose this name for that. So it's supposed to be SRTM. Sorry, SRTM. And then, but because it's a name, I have to use speech mark. So I'm going to copy this whole thing here. I just cut it, not copy, just cut it. Then I'll place it in the speech marks. All right, so that is a string there. So I have created, I'm going to display this variable here, and then I've defined the band to display. So we're going to display elevation, and the range of values we want to be displayed with, specified from -10 to 6500 meters. And then we want to call the layer SRTM elevation 1. All right, at this point we are happy. We're going to run this. So to run this, you just click run, and then this is going to run. All right, so this is a global data. So zoom out, and you see everywhere in the world this data, almost everywhere in the world has got this elevation data. And like I said, our focus is going to be here in Australia. So you can see this is a grayscale image, and what you see here, the brighter pixels shows areas of high elevation, and then the darker pixels shows areas of low elevation. So if you come to Australia, you can see in Tasmania, you see high elevation here. Oh, sorry, not Tasmania. So this is actually New Zealand, right? You see high elevation here. And then southeastern Australia, again, you see high elevation, because if you zoom in, you see brighter pixels. So this is how you display a grayscale image in Google Earth Engine. You see that this is not the best it is the best way of displaying the image, but we can improve this. We can enhance the visualization. So in the next video, we are going to modify the range of values, and also we are going to add colors to these pixels to make it more colorful, in terms of improving how we visually discern between the surface types and the variations in the data. So we're going to cover that in the next video. And so I have to say that I'll see you in the next class, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for new videos to help grow the channel.